Hello guys and welcome to another video. In this video we're taking again another look at that server, the cold war of the first data server. So let's start it, shall we? Okay, so in the last video we saw the Holy Empire's annexation of this space here. So now the Holy Empire starts the Holy Empire. The USR starts embarking on a low policy of expansion. However, as we said in the last video, just the end, the USR claimed these territories here. The USR claimed these territories. However, now WLP reacts. So the USR now starts going up the mountain, and they are extremely close to the monument of the server when they find something unexpected. Well, even though the monument will not be conquered, WLP is here. And he also starts an expansion until he's stopped there by the Apo base. So now, if we fill out, by filling out the blankets, I'm just gonna tell you a little bit what happened. This campaign of WLP lasted for approximately 1 week, just trying to calm down the situation within the USR. Well, as we said now, the USR's campaign was just only 1 week. 1 week to half a week, something like this. So not day. Okay, also this is not Merlin. That's not the Merlin base. That's Felice base. So now what do we have here? Today we're gonna see a revolution happening. Where today we're gonna see the revolution of the Merlin base. Not just any kind of Merlin base. The Merlin base that now becomes a part of that now becomes independent and more a part of a puppet state actually of Boiti's base. So what happens? No, that's no. I want this color. Okay. So in the Merlin base now here, a revolution starts because they want to now fully be an autonomous state and not part of Boiti's base. Now, the USR has nothing to do with that. The USR now has their army station here next to Xpit because Xpit start getting more and more weapons now from ULP. So the USR needs to protect itself. However, as we said now here, this revolution now spreads more and more and more until they're at the borders with the USR. Now, this revolutionist war continues. Not every single place, but the majority of the population there comes under this revolution and want to become an independent nation now. However, now, troops from Boitias and the main government of Maryland are starting to clear out the revolution. And they try pushing more and more. However, well, the USR is kind of optimistic and they want to declare war on this base. However, WLP and the USR is scared of WLP. But it's not an issue since WLP now isn't close, is somewhere else doing his own stuff. So, the USR, seeing that WLP now is not online and they can't do anything, declares war on the Merlin base and Boiti's base. Well, the USR swiftly invades some parts of the Merlin base and they offer a kind of alliance to the revolutionists. If the revolutionists gave them these parts here, and also these parts here and these parts. The revolutionists say okay for now. Like, in reality, they did not say okay, since they only after the US left, they only said that they were, what the hell? Said that the USSR was only going to obtain these parts and the rest of them would just be their own. So with some swift maneuvers, the USSR comes at this moment. We see the collapse of Maryland base, of these fronts actually. Now the revolutionists are going more in, and they're getting ready to invade now the Maryland base. However, the USSR, after advancing, so it's rather than seeing and going into the Castillo, we see that the revolutionists continue while WLP threatens the USSR of war if they don't stop. So they leave. And apart from these fronts that are at the Maryland base, the USSR said that they're not gonna abandon these fronts until the revolutionists win. So that's the end of the war for the USSR. So let's come back now here to the revolutionists. Well, the revolutionists have gotten more and more territories, and they're getting as close to the capital as possible. Now, while that's happening, the old government of the Maryland base is fleeing, and they go to base in order to ask for weapons. And some weapons arrive, and even though they invade a bit the revolutionists' territory, there's a problem. Some shots are fired without WLP knowing, and some troops go inside and they invade the USSR. Now, WLP rushed in to calm the situation, since his leaders in the USSR are getting ready to invade. However, as WLP said, so I wasn't recording really. Anyways, as I said, now the USSR invaded at this place, and while they opt for peace with the Holy Empire now, they tried to attack the revolutionists. Well, the revolutionists, with some swift maneuvers, are able to go inside and actually circle the capital. The capital is circled, and they gain the rest of the territories extremely easily now. And Khalil base is threatened. However, the capital falls. Now the tree is here. So let's just see what the tree stands for. So here's the tree. The USSR got extremely a lot from it, and they understood now that they were lied by the Maryland base. So now what happens? Well, not much. The USSR just puts no pressure on another base. We know which base. They put pressure on Frezi to join them. And also, they still embark on their policies, and now they're at the gates of Empuk while annexing these lands. And also, some parts of Empuk are now Empuk, and WLP are scared, since now WLP understands that the USSR is not playing anymore. They were lied to, and now they are getting ready. So the USSR also gets, now after the tree of Tryphon, the Castillo also with Tryphon, they're able to get more parts from WLP, because human students know that the USSR is on a kind of a rampage. So what happens? Oh, not much. Also, the new Maryland base now finally gets a capital, and they're kind of ready to invade. We're also in the tree. The USSR also has to give some land to this base. However, this space also gives an ask for the user to see. However, they also join will P, and kind of the whole that now sees that the user is kind of going off. The user now stops any military interventions. They focus on themselves because something happens. But we'll see this in the next episode. So, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye.